Before the rise of Islam, Persia had an ancient civilization and was ruled by the Sassanid Empire, which was one of the most powerful empires in the world. However, the oppressive policies of the Sassanid state led to widespread discontent in Iran. One of the earliest Persians to embrace the religion of Islam was Salman al-Farisi, who was a Persian slave who converted to Islam after escaping captivity and taking refuge in Arabia. Salman al-Farisi met the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the city of Medina and became one of his closest companions. The Sassanid Empire eventually collapsed when it was conquered by the army of the Rashidun Caliphate, led by Umar ibn al-Khattab. During the reign of the third Caliph, Uthman ibn Affan, he developed the poor infrastructure of Iran, which had been neglected by the corrupt Sassanid Empire. During his reign, Uthman ibn Affan repaired roads and built new irrigation canals across Persia. During this period, many Arabs settled in Iran and preached Islam to the people. Islamic civilization in Iran further developed during the reign of the Umayyad Empire. In order to integrate Persians into the Islamic world, the Umayyads developed a new script for the Persian language, which was based on the Arabic alphabet. The Umayyad period produced many great Persian Muslim scholars, such as the jurist known as Imam Abu Hanifa, who gained hundreds of students in Iraq. However, towards the end of the Umayyad period, there was large-scale discontent among Persians, who faced racism and discrimination from the ruling Arabs. During this period, the region of Khurasan in Persia became a center of anti-Umayyad rebellions and revolutions. Persian rebels such as Abu Muslim al-Khurasani, who was descended from pre-Islamic Persian kings, revolted against the Umayyads. The Umayyads were overthrown in the Abbasid revolution and replaced by the Abbasid dynasty. Although the Abbasids were Arabs, they filled their government with Persians, as the Persians had helped them in their revolution against the Umayyads. During this period, many beautiful mosques were built across Iran, such as the Jame Mosque of Isfahan. After the collapse of the Abbasids, many Persian ministers in the Abbasid government formed their own independent states, such as the Tahirid dynasty, the Safarid dynasty, the Samanid dynasty, and the Ziyarid dynasty. During this period, Iran witnessed a revival in Persian culture, as poets such as Abul Qasim Firdausi produced literature on the history of ancient Persia. However, this period was short-lived, as Iran was eventually conquered by various Turkic states such as the Ghaznavid, Seljuk, and Khwarezm empires. Despite being ruled by Turks, Persians continued to produce great scholars during this period, such as Imam al-Ghazali and Nizam al-Mulk al-Tusi. Iran was soon struck with a major calamity when the Mongols invaded Iran. This invasion caused many great Persian scholars such as Jalaluddin Rumi to leave Iran. However, many scholars stayed behind, such as Sadi Shirazi, who tried to reform Persian society after the Mongol invasions. Sadi Shirazi spoke out against Mongolian-backed Iranian rulers, and he openly criticized their corruption. He also criticized Iranian society, which had become highly hedonistic and selfish during this period, as Iranians had lost hope and had turned to blindly indulging in desires. Sadi Shirazi rejected these ideas and called on Iranians to revive their consciousness and speak out against the injustice happening around them. In one of his Persian poems, he stated, "Human beings are members of a whole, in creation of one essence and soul. If one member is afflicted with pain, other members uneasy will remain. If you have no sympathy for human pain, the name of human you cannot retain." In addition to calling for reforms in Iran, Sadi Shirazi also traveled to Syria, where he volunteered alongside a group of Arabs to fight against the European Crusaders. During this period, Sadi Shirazi was captured by Crusaders and was kept as a prisoner of war. After being released, Sadi Shirazi returned to Iran, where he wrote masterpieces of Persian literature such as Gulistan and Bustan, which call on Iranians to reform and turn back to Islam. In the decades that followed, Iran remained politically weak and continued to be invaded by brutal Central Asian conquerors such as Taimur. Another Persian reformer who emerged during this period was Nuruddin Abdul Rahman Jami, who wrote another masterpiece of Persian literature known as Bahiristan, where he called on people to reform themselves and improve their character. Abdul Rahman Jami reminded Iranians not to abandon their morals because of their poor economic situation. He stated, "Those who live for bread alone will submit to the vilest abuse for the sake of it, like a hungry dog." Throughout his life, Abdul Rahman Jami never praised any ruler. Although he worked in the government of Taimur as a minister, he constantly called for reforms and was not afraid of criticizing the king. Abdul Rahman Jami eventually resigned from his position in the government, and he criticized Taimur's favoritism of Turks over Persians. After the fall of the Taimurid Empire, Iran was subjected to another calamity when the Safavid dynasty took control of Iran. The Safavids were extremists who killed anyone who opposed them and refused to embrace their extreme version of Shi'ism. The Safavid dynasty ruled Iran for 2 centuries and disconnected Iran from the rest of the Islamic world, as the Safavids were constantly at war with the neighboring Ottoman Empire. The Safavid Empire collapsed in 1736 when Nadir Shah overthrew the last Safavid king and established his own dynasty. Nadir Shah tried to restore Islamic unity in Iran by creating a council of advisors which consisted of both Shia and Sunni scholars. However, his empire did not last long, as he was assassinated by his bodyguards in 1796. The last major dynasty that ruled Iran was the Qajar dynasty, which ruled until 1925. During this period, Iran continued to be isolated from the Islamic world. However, various Iranian reformers emerged during this period. For example, Abul Hasan Sheikh al-Rais Qajar tried to end centuries of isolation between Iran and the Ottoman Empire. He traveled to the Ottoman Empire and met Sultan Abdul Hamid II, and he proposed uniting Iran with the Ottoman Empire. He also established the Ittihad Islam newspaper with the purpose of uniting Muslims across the world against the Russian and British empires. However, his vision to unite Iran with the rest of the Muslim world never materialized, and towards the end of the Qajar dynasty, the government was plagued with corruption. Iran's last major dynasty came to an end when Reza Pahlavi came to power in a British-backed military coup.